Ken James and Jason McKittrick. Brought to you by CryptoCurium.
Good evening, folks, and welcome to another edition of Learning Lovecraft. I'm your host, Jason McKittrick, and with me, as always, the traveler of the Eldritch Path, Mr. Ken James.
Hello, gang.
And here we are again, blowing Ken's mind.
This one I got. This one I totally get,
Right, and a small correction on one of the previous episodes, because the last episode we had Beyond the Wall of Sleep, and I said, hey, our next story is going to be the transition of Juan Romero. But I forgot about this little ditty.
Yeah, this is a little ditty.
It's not about Jack and Diane, but...
No, no, sir. Well, they might have been there. We don't know.
I mean, maybe that was the genie's name and that was the demon's name. I don't know.
We are not to know.
We are not to know. But what we're talking about is Memory, a piece of what is referred to as flash fiction. I guess that's just kind of the after the fact. A 1919 piece by our boy Lovecraft. And I had to include this because I forgot how cool it was.
It's interesting. It's definitely interesting.
Right? So it's a one-pager, right?
Yeah.
And it kind of just pulls together that mood that old HPL really enjoys.
Yeah. I guess that mood would be the, just hopelessness for mankind.
Yeah, or just a, I don't know, a rumination on impermanence. I don't know.
Sure.
But before we get to our main story tonight, we're introducing a new little segment that's going to be joining us on the podcast. We're going to be calling it Transmissions from the Void. Yeah. So this is just going to be a little news kind of segment that we're going to have from time to time on the podcast. Mm-hmm. And anytime anything pertinent comes up, or we think it might be fun for the listeners to hear, we might talk about it. Might be a new film coming out, a game, something big in the Lovecraft world, Cthulhu Rising. We don't know what might happen.
We don't know. We cannot foresee the future.
But when we do see it, and we hear those transmissions coming from the void, we're going to bring them right to you. So,
gosh darn it, we're reporting on it.
Yep, finger on the pulse of the old ones. So for our first edition here, I thought we'd bring up this fun little article that I came across. Came out a few days ago, and just randomly, and I was like, you know what? This needs to be the first one. And it came from movieweb.com. And it says, why movies need more Lovecraft.
Right.
And, we know why, but...
Oh, we know why.
Right. So, it's no stranger that, as years go on, the Lovecraftian mythos and all of its trimmings find its way more into media. And I think, the gist of this article is basically saying that, you watch your movie, your horror movie, you have every once in a while, you got the ghost, you got the monster, you got whatever it is, you come across it, and it's basically, that's the horror. It's the horror that, oh, the monster came and we're running from it. Maybe we find a way away from it. Maybe we can kill it. Maybe we can't.
Yeah.
But the thing at the heart of Lovecraftian tropes, which could be great for the inside of some of these horror movies, is that the monster isn't the horror. The monster is just proof of the horror. And the horror of cosmic horror is that, they don't really care about us at all. We're just, it's like, oh, there's people here. Yeah, whatever. I mean, you're less than dust.
Yeah.
So,
you're bearing witness.
Right, exactly. And the fact that you're there to bear witness drives you insane.
Much like one of the most recent stories we covered. Almost got me a little, set me into the void a little bit there.
Yeah, a little verklempt after that one, huh?
Talk amongst yourselves.
Yep. And we still have so many more insane ones to go.
Can't wait.
Yeah, we're still in the T-ball phase.
Yeah. Yeah, there's no fast pitch. I'm just...
Nope. Yeah. Good job, Kenny. Do it again.
Yeah. I won the bases. I won the...
Nice.
Yeah.
And anyone reading this who is versed in Lovecraftian anything is like, well, duh. But you kind of can tell at this point that they really are treading water over in Hollywood a little bit, huh?
Yeah. Treading the same water.
That's for sure. And it's funny too, because you can go, even if you know just a little bit of this kind of stuff, you've got the classics. You have The Thing. Mm-hmm. You have, that's John Carpenter. Then also from John Carpenter, you also have In the Mouth of Madness. A few other, series that have come out over the years have touched on Lovecraftian things just from, there's that the Sabrina the Teenage Witch. I think the second season was Lovecraftian, minorly Lovecraftian. But and then every once in a while you'll get that stray film that kind of has some Lovecraftian elements in it. Right. And then recently there's that they did a animated adaptation of that Batman one shot. I think it's an Elseworlds title, the Doom That Came to Gotham, which I have, and it's fun, and it's definitely Lovecraftian, but these things aren't very seen very often. So I think
yeah, you got to add a different element as opposed to just a jump scare, and the same actors doing the same things over and over again. Right.
I think we've all we have seen our share of certain. I've seen my share of zombies. I don't know about you.
Right. Yeah.
Stick mushrooms on them. They're still zombies. On tonight's episode of The Walking Last Dead of Us. Joel. Wait.
Hey, man. I'm a sucker for the Rick/Joel character, so. But I know exactly what you're saying. I know what you're saying.
It's, imagine if we get to the end of this and you find out that, the zombies are just a side effect of the old ones rising, and that it's just that this planet's rotting, and it's that would be amazing. But it's
it's not going to do that. I'm not going to.
It's global warming and
mushrooms. Yes.
Strawberries. So I was pleased to see this come across the interwebs and across my Facebook feed, and I was like, what, let's throw this on here. And I've been seeing more of these lately, which is great, and I really hope this does mean we're going to see some more Lovecraftian things in our media, because we need it. Yeah, and it's few and far between that I see a horror movie now where I'm like jumping to see it, where I'm like, oh, I'm ready sitting, I pop it on when I'm like playing a video game or something. And like if there's something good, I'm like, oh, that was cool, But then I'm like, the rest of it, and then it's like, wait, the grave was under her house, and that was just a ghost.
Yeah, the woman lives, the guy dies saving her.
He always dies stupidly too.
Yeah, right. That's not just horror. That's like new Star Wars too, and
Yes, but that's a discussion for another time.
Yes. One might say that's another danger.
Oof. Too dangerous for me today.
Yeah, right.
Right.
Let's just keep it, cerebral and, horrifying beyond belief.
Yeah, let's keep it sanity shattering, but the fun type.
Yeah, right.
All right. Well, yes. Shout out to Ryan Christian over at MovieWeb. He put this together, and I saw a lot of folks share this article, and glad to see this kind of stuff get some traction.
Yes, sir.
So, all right. So, Ken, on to what is this? Is this story number 4 for you?
Five.
Okay. Excuse me.
Yeah.
Initial thoughts.
Yeah. So my initial thoughts are, I at first, I kind of knew where it was going. Mm-hmm. I was just like kind of waiting for the confirmation, but in the same breath, it was short. They didn't leave you hanging, and for the most part, once again, strange monoliths. Right away, you're like, okay, I see where we're at here.
Ancient cities.
Yeah, ancient cities. But I'm not going to say I was surprised, but I was like, okay, yeah. So this is one thing we don't know, though, before we get, in the meat of the story, is you don't know if it's, pre-COVID current man, post current man? Is it a different, long time ago? Is it, what stage of humanity is because of the different, apes or monkeys and things like that they describe. So it's like, okay, I forgot the exact word I'm looking for, but is it, pre us, post us?
Right.
We don't know. So that's where my thought process went initially.
Okay. Yeah, no, before we go any further, this is very short.
Yeah.
I mean, this is, what is it, like 300 words or something?
Something like that. But it does leave you with a lot to think about.
It does leave you with a lot to think about because it's a little bit of a think piece. And I also think this is one of the ones, even though it's not a full story, it's more of like a, I'm still going to call it a story because it is. It has everything for it. I think it has that dream logic that we've kind of been discussing a little bit, where it's like, this almost seems like a fully formed dream and he just put it down. You know what I mean? Like
sure.
He had this, like he likes to have these dreams of these, the Valley of Nis,
right?
the accursed waning moon. And I like how he describes the, because it's a waning crescent, because he talks about the feeble horns,
right? That
they tearing a path for its light. And I was like, oh, that's a great image. And like with most of this stuff, it's all mood, and right away we get that ancient city, and he gives us this really rich verbiage of like talking about the rank vegetation and like the slopes and the vines and the creeping plants and the stones and the ruined places, and it's just like, well, here we are.
yeah.
And I like that, and he puts it right at the end. It's like that first paragraph. He's like, there's these deep treasure vaults and these poison serpents and scaly things that have no name. And it's like, dude, that's the whole setting right there. That's the setting for not every, but most fantasy stories. You've got your ancient city. We don't know who built it, what it is, but there's treasure. There's these dangerous, creatures writhing about still. Possible, other dangers. And, the moonlight itself is evil, so we're in. We're ready for it.
Yeah. One thing is absent at this point, though.
What's that?
Is the who created this?
Well then. And then also the way that he describes, he starts talking about, right. He says, "For all time did their builders erect them, and in sooth they yet serve nobly, for beneath them the gray toad makes his habitation." So it's like you have this city that obviously was built by some intelligent race, and now it basically serves as a home for toads.
Yeah, right. And, gray ones at that.
Gray toads. And then you have this. We come to the very bottom of this valley where this the city is. We have this river, the river Than. Whose waters are slimy and filled with weeds, and talking about there's these subterranean grottos, and that, and we get the mention of our first character, the demon with the antiquated spelling.
Yes,
the demon of the valley, and even he doesn't know why the waters are red,
right,
and where the waters are going,
because he's old.
He's old. And then right after that, Robin Williams shows up.
Or Will Smith. We don't.
Or Will. Listen,
I didn't say it. So
which genie didn't smack Chris Rock?
I don't know. We don't know. We're not here to tell you.
Right. I don't know which genie it is, but as soon as I remember reading this, I was like, "All right, that's a genie in there," because I hadn't read this in a very long time. So the genie that haunts the moonbeams. That's a title. Imagine that on your business card.
Yeah. Hi, Ken James. Genie haunts the moonbeams. Right. If you need me for a party, bat mitzvah, whatever you need.
Right. Available.
Yeah, I'll come. I'll come. Rub my lamp, baby.
Right. And then he starts
conversing with the demon.
Conversing with the demon of the valley. Which immediately, when I hear Demon of the Valley, I just think of Demolition Man, where he's like, "Good things from the valley," the jolly. Yeah. I'm like, too much television. That should be the name of this podcast.
Like at that point, right? Like, so I'm like, this does have the making of maybe one of the coolest buddy cop movies, because we got in Beyond the Wall of Sleep.
Yeah.
We got a buddy cop movie, and we were like, whoa, or story. We're like, these guys are riding out, this and that. But this put them like a genie and a demon. I never even.
That's a party, man.
Yeah, that is a party.
Who knows?
Talk about wrecking crew.
Yeah, seriously. So the demon of the genie goes and speaks to the demon of the valley, and he asks, I am old and forget much. Tell me the deeds and aspect and name of them who built these things of stone. To which the demon replies, I am memory and am wise in lore of the past, but I too am old. These beings were like the waters of the river Than, not to be understood. Their deeds I recall not, for they were but of the moment. Their aspect I recall dimly, for it was like that of the little apes in the trees. Their name I recall clearly, for it rhymed with that of the river. These beings of yesterday were called man.
And then cut to Charlton Heston on a beach, slamming his...
Yeah. Basically.
Yeah, right.
And then so the genie flies back to the moon, and the demon looked intently at the little ape in the tree that grew in a crumbling courtyard. So,
right.
So, yes. So, here's this,
I have thoughts.
Okay. Well, go ahead. You go ahead.
Well, so that right there, right? So that whole little conversation, right? So first of all, there's these two beings of, lore, I guess you would say, or different religions. And they're both
aspects.
Different sides of the coin. So, first, the genie showing up out of the moon being like, what happened here? Like, who built this? I haven't been around. I've been haunting the moon beams. Like,
right.
What's going on? And he sees this demon who's another, possibly immortal creature, person, being, who too is just another. He's like, yeah. He's like, it got weird. He's like, kind of like, he's like, they were about the time. They didn't really care about me or anything else that was around. Like, they were doing all this stuff. They built that. There was grottos. It was crazy. They had fun for a while, and then he's like, but it was so long ago. And like, he's like, I even forget. Like, that whole concept is like right there. These two ancient creatures are talking about just our existence in general. And it's like them not having any kind of knowledge or even kind of real care. It was kind of like a passing, like,
right.
Hey, what's this about? And the one demon's like, huh? And he's like, all right, well, I'll see it. And he goes back to the moon, like,
right. Like, it's two things that kind of strike me for that. It's like, they're so long lived that, oh, look at these things that got built here. What was this again? Yeah, exactly. And they're
Flash
just
in
like,
the pan.
Yeah. But then also I like where he says, their deeds I recall not, for they were but of the moment.
Right.
And it's like, it can kind of be viewed as two things. It's like, of the moment where it was short-lived in their perspective, or was it because man is only for the moment? The way we think is only of the moment.
Right.
We never think of really the future, and the past is the past, but we're only just about the moment. And I think that's so. It's like, okay, so something that is as long-lived and supernatural could see that about us. And, we're really nothing more than, those two little apes playing in the tree.
Right. Well, and that's where brings me to my next thought on it. So it's like, okay, is this like the Amazon, where there was like, 200 million people that lived out there at some point?
Yeah.
And then now everything has grown over again just to have life emerge through evolution in another place with, the little monkeys that are running around. You know what I mean? Like, and that's why the demon kind of like looks at the monkey. I feel like at that point where it's just kind of like, huh. Like, not like him going, oh, this is starting over again, but it just takes so long for that kind of process and for a civilization to come to pass that, like, by the time that it happens again, all those structures and everything will be overgrown, covered over, and won't even be kind of remembered. It'll just be a mountain, like all the monoliths will just be pieces of asphalt, you know what I mean, or just dirt or whatever. It'll all go back to the earth, and then civilization will spring up again. That's just kind of where I was like, is that where we're going here?
Right. Yeah, I mean, I think there's a lot to be. That's why I decided to go back over this story, because honestly, I was like, this is a great little, this is a great little thing here. And then another thing that I kind of pulled from here, because Lovecraft kind of steers clear from a lot of religious things, but I guess there's not so much. You can't really. I guess you can't be completely devoid of it. And so he calls it in the Valley of Nis, which is sin backwards.
Right.
So is there? I don't know. Is there something to that? Is this like, because is there something where it was like, oh, is this some kind of like unbelievably decadent culture that just got dashed?
Maybe.
Which we'll see coming up in the Doom That Came to Sarnath coming up. So, and what does sin mean anyway? I mean, sin is just, that could just mean something else. So that kind of put another slant on it. It's like, oh, is this some kind of like great culture that was just so decadent, and because of their sins, quote unquote, it crumbled, and
just making butter sandwiches.
Butter sandwiches, eating steak with pieces with just things of butter right on top of each piece. That's like Chris Farley used to do.
Yeah, right. Exactly. That's what I mean. Like it got so just there was
8-Ball City.
Yeah, right. Same thing. They're just going nuts, and it's like they're like, live for the now, like doing all this kind of stuff, and they're like, oh, we forgot to eat, or drink water. We forgot to eat good or healthy, or we're just so caught up in our own culture. Yeah. And I guess that would be the Valley of the Sin, like that kind of aspect.
Sure. And this is something that's going to come up, like I just said, and in later stories, more than just one, you'll see where Lovecraft will talk about an entire civilization that they're talking about in a story, and they get to these great heights, but then they get to their decadent era where like they forget how to do stuff. I mean, that figures in greatly into At the Mountains of Madness, which is far down the road. Right. But I think there's a lot packed into this little 300 word just thought, and another reason why I wanted to bring this in was that you have with these early stories, it's like Lovecraft is like he's building his he's like starting his sandbox. You know what I mean? Like here's the things he likes to like move around and use and play with. And I think this is like a major mood piece right here, that it's like, okay, great civilizations that are just nothing, and then now they're just they're homes to slithering serpents and gray toads, and even the ancient things are just like, what were they? I don't know.
All right, man. He just throws up the deuces, heads back to the moon.
There's ruined city, Vio the Carpathian and Gozer the Gozerian show up, and they're like, what was this again? Like,
yeah. They made some cool chairs over there. Maybe we'll sit down for a minute. I don't know.
Here is the season of evil in the Valley of Nis. So
there's a song actually that this kind of reminded me of. It's by Lupe Fiasco actually, and he's actually I believe he was a major in literature when he went to college. And a lot of his stuff it's rap, and it's but he's different. He has a very cool take on a lot of things. But there's a song called "My Unforgivable Youth," where the whole time he's setting up this whole like talking about this ancient civilization, like someone discovered this ancient civilization, and it's like talking about all the things that they're kind of uncovering about them. And it's like, he said their teeth were very filed down. They probably didn't eat much meat at all. And like he keeps going, and then he's saying like it seemed like they worshipped this paper with these pictures on it and all this stuff. And at the very end, he's like, I guess they all lived in this White House, and it's like kind of like them discovering, the money and just they were discovering the religion of this ancient people who lived in this White House, who worship the money and the power. But it reminded me so much of that because of the concept of like them getting like you were saying, like the Valley of Sin, or like what happened to these people. It's obvious they were obsessed with the time and the now, and we don't give too much to the future and the cost of everything. And we forget the past, which we're doomed to repeat because we don't at this point these kids anymore, man, they just don't they don't care.
It's true.
Like, and that's why it's like I like the name My Unforgivable Youth, right? Because it's like we're so young as a nation that the same thing's going to happen. Like, us with Egypt or any other kind of
Rome.
Yeah, Rome. All these peak societies that just that happens again.
They all reach their decadent era,
Yep.
and once they do, it's a swift decline.
Yep.
And it seems to be that's the life cycle of any great culture. Is that it's like it's like a bright star that just burns out. It just can't maintain it.
Yep, because the powers that be, they think they're too big to fail, and then it just.
But even that it's inconsequential, because whatever it was that they thought or who they were, nobody with this, how HPL is summing this up is that it didn't even matter because in
the end of it, all of those emotions and thoughts that I just had didn't even matter because it's a speck of inconsequential dust in one little rift in the Milky Way, sized nothing. Like we're impossibly small.
Right.
The time that we have here as an individual, let alone the time that all of us are going to have here in this shared existence or shared consciousness and reality, which once again, deeply terrifying. For myself.
From dust we come, and to dust shall we return. It's kind of the same kind of thing. And it also reminded me of a song too, more the video too. Have you ever seen Gautier, his songs Eyes Wide Open?
I believe I'm pretty familiar with the song, but I don't know about the video.
Yeah, it's all about civilization collapse. And I remember rereading this. It made me think of it right away. And I was like, okay, yeah. So, these themes are just, once again, like we said in the previous episodes, these universal human themes that come across in some of these stories, where it's just like, well, it's kind of undeniable because it's true.
Right.
So,
and this one I like too because I like too because he set you up for a thought process as opposed to searching for meaning or searching for some kind of like lifeline to pull you straight to here's the point. Instead of just searching, it's kind of like, oh, this is here. Mm-hmm. It's like you get it. You know what I mean? Like it's. Like it's one of those small puzzles as opposed to like a 10,000 piece puzzle,
right? And its small and its smallness kind of adds to its poignancy because it's like, well, there it is, it's undeniable. Yeah,
don't go searching too much; it's kind of right here.
Right. With the toads,
it's down with the toads, man.
So, that's kind of all there is. That's all there is to it. I mean, it's like we said, it's a short story. Barely what do we call it, flash fiction, but there's some I wanted to mention because I've been a fan of this guy's work for a while. His name is the Lone Animator, and he has a YouTube channel by the name of Blue Worm, and this gentleman puts together some amazing handmade stop motion animation, and he has one of this story Memory, and I would definitely urge you to check it out because, this is a one-man operation that does these, and he has a bunch of Lovecraft stories. I actually remember the first one I ever saw was, what was that? Shadow Out of Time, which is great. But this is just fun. I mean, I remember when I was putting the episode together, I was like, all right, Ken, read the story, then go watch the animation.
Yeah.
What'd you think of it?
I thought it was really cool. I'm a sucker for that kind of style of animation.
Oh, me too.
It takes me back to like you'd have to wait forever for something like that to drop when I was a kid, and then you'd get something so cool it'd be in like a Tool video, and you'd be like, whoa! Like even if I didn't get the music when I was a kid, I'd be like, what's this video about? You know what I mean? I'd be like,
right.
For like Alice in Chains, I don't even know, but no, it would be like,
I stay away,
you would get so many, so little of those, and then finally when one of them dropped, you were like, everyone like joined around, you'd be like, oh, that's so cool, and then you'd have to wait, however long for someone to put it all together because it's a process. And I liked it. It's very stylistic, reminiscent of I'm trying to think. There was Kablam. Remember, did you ever watch Kablam as a kid on Nickelodeon?
Not too much. It was a little bit after my time.
Well, there's this one segment they would do called was it Icarus and Bob?
Okay.
And it was an alien and a caveman, and the
yeah.
alien would try to relate to the caveman.
Yes, I do remember that. Yeah.
The animation reminded me of that a lot, so I got a little chuckle out of that. I was like, oh, nice. was it Icarus and Bob? It was. Oh, man.
It was something like that. Yeah, but I do remember that. Yeah, because like every time it was like him just trying to like jumpstart civilization for him. Like here does this work, and it would just end up him like being
bashing and the camera would always fall over, and he'd be like resetting it back up.
Yes, I do remember that. Good call.
Yeah.
Good
You're
call.
welcome.
Yeah. Oh, good stuff. Yeah. I really love this.
Prometheus and Bob.
Prometheus and
Bob.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yep. I couldn't think of it, but I remember that vividly. Yeah. Good times.
Yeah, man. Great times.
Yeah. No. I really liked what he did for this, and just for it to be, it's I wouldn't even say obscure because it's not even like a story, but like you don't hear this one mentioned too much, and I like just how purely Lovecraftian it is. It's like a reduction. It's like completely it's all just concentrated into this. It's like 300 words. And it's like boom, you get your full little Lovecraftian experience.
Right.
Even with a little these slithering creatures under the stones, you still get that little bit of horror, like, oh, and there's treasure. Well, and there's a whole nother story there.
Yeah, right.
Maybe even if it's not a Lovecraftian story, it could be a Conan story. So.
Sure, and that's the thing. Like you can totally. What's cool about that story too is you could totally take that and the basis of all that, and you could work off like based on this story from Lovecraft. Like you can build on it, and it can inspire all different kinds of stories, movies, shows, whatever. Just because simply. It's all the structure's there. It's just like one of those structure pieces, and it also sets up for you. Not only is the organic there, with the primordial beings and all that, but also the supernatural is there with the demon and the genie.
Yeah,
and
I think this is also we're going to get to more of this in when we get to the Dream Quest of Unknown Kadath, which is his like epic of his dreamland stuff, which is
sure.
Wait till we get to that.
Yeah, I can say is sure because I got no clue, homie.
It's insane, and I don't mean like maybe not the greatest way. It's nuts. Cats on the moon. Nyarlathotep shows up. It's fun times.
Can't wait.
Yep. So, but that's about all that there is fit to print about memory. But next time, actually, we'll be doing the transition of Juan Romero, which I actually just reread today, and
nice.
That's actually more fun than I remember because a lot of these early stories, I think I said in a previous episode, I haven't read since I was in high school. So I was like, okay, all right, I was listening to some audio rereadings of some of them too, just to get like, someone putting some flavor on it. So it's not just straight text, but I was also reading it too. And there's we got some fun ones coming up.
So now, like, are these early stories like, is this like kind of like him just getting the sillies out, like?
I think it's just this is him stretching his legs. This is him kind of like, I think, like I said earlier in this episode, where it's like he's building his like toy box.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, this is his set of blocks that he's putting together. He's been building a lot of
he's got Cobra over here and all those guys set up. He's got the G.I. Joes over here.
Yep.
The Ghostbusters firehouse is back here.
Yes.
The slime is sitting on top, ready to get dumped. Yeah, yep. I'm familiar.
Yep, he's filling his playroom right now. And I feel like that's where we are, because by time we get to stories like, in my opinion, like by the time we get to like From Beyond, which is like probably like 8 stories from now, it's like, oh, okay, here we go. And it's like, and then he starts to get to the real, for lack of a better term, weirdness. That kind of starts there. But this is him working his stuff out, because there's definitely things in some of these stories that he certainly refines and gets to later and kind of gets to like, but he's this is him gearing up.
Okay. Yeah.
Stretching.
Getting his back ready.
Yep. Working it out, putting his thesis together.
Yeah.
Getting the band back together, whatever you want to call it. But these, I think I was saying to you, in text, a few days ago, I was saying, hey, this is him. A lot of these might be weird, or like, where is this going? What is this doing? It informs things later, and I think it's going to be really fascinating for you to see later on down the road. Like, oh,
Right.
you'll get to a story like, oh, like when he did this in,
Yeah.
in Beyond the Wall of Sleep. It's like, yeah, exactly.
Yeah, where I'm
it'll
like, we're laying the tracks in my brain for the train to go over. is what
Right.
We're pretty much doing.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Hey, man, I enjoyed this one.
Yeah.
Like I said, it's something I could, easy read.
Mm-hmm.
Nice little, like, coffee table read, like, nice discussion piece, I feel.
Yeah, no, because here we are discussing.
Yeah, right. Well, I mean, like, just, in general, like, you'd be like, hey, man, what's wrong with the world? What's wrong with people?
Well, that's why I suggested it, because I was like, this will be a nice little conversation for the podcast, and it'll be a good breather between, I'm gonna even say epic weirdness of Beyond the Wall of Sleep,
Right.
and then the next one kind of in the same wheelhouse, but a little more grounded, and there's caves in the next one, so that's kind of fun.
Nice. Nice. Another fear of mine's,
Yeah.
small places and darkness and being trapped, spelunkers and those maniacs. Wonderful.
Yeah. See, he's gonna do them all.
Yeah, he's gonna get me on every angle.
Yeah, he's gonna do them all.
Yeah. Can't wait for the height segment.
Yeah, that's let's see, that's the Strange High House in the Mist. We'll get to that one. Where
Wonderful.
he falls into the sky.
Oh, that sucks, man. That just stop. That just sucks, man. I got oh
Yeah. Thanks, Howard.
yeah. Hey, fuck you, Howard. No, I'm gonna cut that.
No, it's all good. Yeah. All right, man. Well, so I guess that's it for Memory from 1919.
Which is also the demon's name. I don't know if we mentioned that. The demon's name is Memory.
Yeah. I think he's maybe that suggests that I don't know what kind of demon he is. There's no backstory. Is he cursed to remember all this stuff? But even then, he can't remember it.
Yeah. What does that tell you?
It doesn't. Or why is the river red? I mean, was this a recent? Don't know, man.
All right. No, I didn't mean to open up that.
No, it's fine.
Yeah.
It's unknowable.
Yeah. Right.
All right. So from us over here at Learning Lovecraft Podcast, I've been Jason McGittrick.
And I've been Ken James.
And we'll see you on the other side of sleep.